Welcome to my channel one more week. This week we're starting the video a little different than usual. This week I went to New York City and I visited one of the newest attractions, The Edge. If you're in the city and you have the chance to visit, I would definitely recommend it. I would say The Edge has one of the best views in the city. After visiting The Edge, I found a bakery called Angelina's. If you have the opportunity to stop over there, I would definitely recommend it. It's located on 8th Avenue. I tried 4 different pastries, and that's what inspired me to make these homemade donuts this week. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe, click the bell, and share with your friends. This recipe is a great snack for all these sweet treats that we love. We're going to start by adding 1 cup of warm milk, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of instant yeast. We're going to mix and let it rest for 5 minutes. Once we see the foam forming, that means the yeast has been activated. This is how the yeast should look once it's been activated. We are going to add 2 whole eggs, 6 tablespoons of melted butter, half a teaspoon of salt, 1/4 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 cups of flour. Now we can start mixing all our ingredients in the mixer. If you don't have a mixer, don't be afraid to do it by hand. Just remember, the dough will be ready once it doesn't stick to the container. Now we can add the last 2 cups of flour. Now we mix it one more time and we mix it till it's not sticky anymore, and we can poke the dough and it doesn't stick to your finger. We're going to mix for about 3 to 5 minutes. Once the dough is ready, we can add flour to our board and remove it from the container. Fold your dough for about 1 minute. It's very important to add spray to the container that you're gonna add your dough so it doesn't stick. We're gonna let it rest for 2 hours. We add flour to our board again. After 2 hours it should look like this. We're gonna dump it on the board and we're gonna remove all the air out of the dough. Once we remove the air out of the dough, we wanna stretch it to a 1/2 inch thick. Once we achieve the 1/2 inch thickness, we can start cutting out our donuts. For the glazed donuts, we're gonna poke a hole in the middle, and for the ones that we're gonna put a filling, we don't have to poke any holes. To make the hole on the center of the donuts, what I used was the tip of the piping bag. For these centers that you're removing, you can also fry them, and those will be little munchkins. Now we're gonna start preparing our sugar glaze. We're gonna add 1 cup of powdered sugar, 3 tablespoons of heavy cream, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. We're going to make sure we mix it well. Now we're gonna start preparing our cream cheese filling. We're gonna add 1 cup of cream cheese, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar. Now we're gonna make our chocolate glaze. We're gonna put a bowl on top of a boiling pot. We're gonna add 1 cup of chocolate and a pinch of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of butter, a quarter of a cup of milk, we're going to mix till everything is melted and we don't have any lumps on our chocolate. Once our oil has reached the temperature of 360 degrees, we can start frying our donuts. A trick is to use sticks to flip them, and we're gonna cook them for 2 minutes on each side. Once the donuts are ready, we're gonna remove them and put them in a rack so we can let the oil drain. The best way to put a sugar glaze on the donuts is when they're warm, because the sugar will melt and it will stick easier to our donuts. The process for the stuffed donuts is the same. We're gonna cook them for 2 minutes on each side. We're gonna remove them and let them dry. Once the donuts have dried up, we're gonna poke a hole on one side and we're gonna move the stick side to side to open room for the fillings that we're gonna put on these donuts. On the first piping bag, we're adding vanilla pudding. On this case, I use vanilla pudding out of the box, so just follow the instructions. Now we can start filling up our donuts on the hole that we created. On the second piping bag, we're gonna add our cream cheese frosting that we created. Now we can repeat the process and start filling up the rest of our donuts. Once we put the filling in our donuts, now we can put that chocolate glaze on our donuts. I hope you have enjoyed this recipe. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe, click the bell and share with your friends. I will see you next week for a new recipe. Enjoy!